Yeah.
Stevens.
Yes, it's done.
They cut off.
All right,
Yeah.
good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining us for the August 26th, 2026 Amityville Union Free School District Board of Education meeting. I, Angel Davenport, First Vice President, and calling the meeting to order at 5:37. In attendance at the meeting now is Second Vice President Cheryl Quintine Best, Trustee Juan Leon, Trustee Megan Mesman, Trustee Dr. Equation Yard-Chin. Also in attendance tonight is our Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Gina Talbert, Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction, Mary Stevens, Interim Assistant Superintendent for Business and Operations, Joseph C. Dragone, Director of Human Resources, Dr. Landau, and we have a legal representative here from Gercio, Mr. John Sheen. Can I have a motion at 5:38 to enter into executive session for the purpose of particular person's employment history and advice from our legal counsel?
Motion.
Second. Okay, Cheryl Quintine Best is first, and Dr. Equation Yard is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 6-0. We expect to reopen the meeting at approximately 5:50 p.m. Thank you. Hey, good evening. We're going to reopen public session at 6:23. Present tonight is myself, Angel Davenport, First Vice President, Cheryl Quintine Best, Second Vice President, Juan Leon, Trustee, Michael McDonald, Trustee, Megan Messman, Trustee, and Dr. Equation Yard, Trustee. Also in attendance is our Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Gina Talbert, Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction, Ms. Mary Stevens, Interim Assistant Superintendent for Business and Operations, Joseph Dragone. We stepped away for a moment. Director of Human Resources, Dr. Landau, and our legal representative from Gercio, John Sheen. Please note the emergency exit closest to you. There is no smoking on school grounds, and please silence cell phones during the business of the board. At this time, please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Before we get input from the community regarding board agenda items, I would like to introduce two motions to amend the agenda. The first one would be 3B-GP and 3B-4HH to add the names Noel Kazora and Katie Tesora. And the second one would be under business, which would be 3C5. And this is a resolution. Contingency allowance authorization number G003. Whereas the interior renovations at EWM Middle School Project General Construction Contract has an allowance of $180,000 for contingency items. And whereas the total amount of previous authorizations from this allowance was $141,630.96 in order to expand the scope of work to include additional bathrooms and classrooms. And whereas the district desires to perform additional work, including the asbestos abatement and reinstallation of the roof vent as a result of the installation of curbing on the roof. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education awards the additional work in the amount of $13,050 which will leave a balance in the allowance of $25,319.04. And be it further resolved that the allowance for the work to be performed is hereby authorized to be executed by the President of the Board of Education. Can I have a motion to add these items to our agenda?
Motion.
Second. A has been first by Chopin Time Best and second by Dr. Equation North. Junior, excuse me. Second, any discussion of this item? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carries 6-0. At this time, we'll take community input regarding board agenda items only. Seeing that there are no community inputs, we're gonna move on with our agenda. We're gonna go to 2A, so can I have a motion to approve 2A1?
Motion. Second.
Case, Dr. Equation Jean Yard is first. And Megan Mesman is second. Any discussion on this item?
Didn't get to see the updates, but Shannon had acknowledged the.
Yes.
Okay, so this was, it was.
Yes.
Okay.
Anything else? All right, all those in favor?
Bye.
Aye. The motion carries 6-0. Okay. Can I have a motion for T2C1?
Motion to approve.
Second, sorry.
Okay, so it has been Juan Leon's first and Megan Mesman the second. Any discussion on this item?
I just wondered, I think we did this already.
There, what we did was approve the lease
Right.
of the voting machines. Now we're actually accepting them as a gift from the Suffolk County Board of Elections.
Okay.
This is just for us to actually take physical possession of the
Okay.
machines. And then it'll be ours for life.
Oh, we did this. It's a few
Sounds
steps, I guess.
familiar.
Yeah.
That'll be ours.
Do you mind if I ask a follow-up question with the onto it? So with that, we were required to, I believe, buy. Or something like that, in case these machines became damaged or something like that. Is that still necessary if we physically own that? So that was in the period of lease, you actually have an ownership. Now they are owned, you are owned outright, you own the machine outright, and there's no longer a bond. Okay, is there any, but they're yours where it is in the condition of there? Understood, yeah.
We have to keep a budget for maintenance.
Yes, we have budget for maintenance, and in addition to that, we have to have a budget for the programming of the machines on an annual basis to the elections. The machines themselves have to be programmed so they can reach the balance. Of scan the machine. That programming can be done by a company that used to be called Dominion. Not when Dominion shine down, and we might be member of the but we need to, on an annual basis, enter into an agreement for the programming of the machines. And what we used to get from Suffolk County, we just want you to know, that we used to get the machines. We paid them to program the machines. They lent us the machines. We still paid them to program. So now the difference is, they're not lending us the machines anymore, they're giving them to us. We still have to program the machines, but Suffolk County Board of Elections is not gonna do that anymore. Because they have these wonderful brand new machines where when you go to vote, it's a blank piece of paper that you put into a machine and it actually prints the ballot while you're standing. Machine. So there's no ballots being printed anymore. It saves a lot of money, but they're not willing to lend us those machines. So we have to accept these as a gift and program them on an annual basis.
If I can just offer one opinion, and that is, I don't really understand why the school district should be in the business of owning, operating, maintaining machines such as this, when we have one election. It makes the election so much more costly. I don't know why Suffolk County doesn't just loan it to us. Goes back to that.
It should be, and I agree with you, and I think it's very expensive for districts to run these elections. Suffolk County Board of Elections has decided they're not gonna take a chance with their new machines. They don't wanna transport them, take the chance in transporting them that they'll break, if they're misused in some way. I'm not gonna speak for them because for years, they did that while they lent us their machines. Now, all of a sudden, they've decided, no, you're not gonna do that anymore. Maybe you know somebody, something.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
I'll write them a strong worded letter.
Yeah.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Uh,
Aye. Okay, motion carries 6-0. Okay. Can I do the following items together, 3A general and 3B personnel? Or does anyone want any of those done separately?
that home chief.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's fine, yes.
Okay, can I have a motion for agenda items 3A1, 3B1A, 3B 3A through F, and H through L, 3B 4A through FF, GG and HH, 3B 4KK through CCC, 3B5 A through C, G through U, 3B8A, 3B9A through E, 3B10A through H, and J through L, 3B11A through HH, and 3B13 A through S.
Yes, I mean. Yeah.
Motion.
All right, maybe Messman is first, and Dr. Equation Georgina is second. Any discussion on these items? All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries 6-0.
And if I might, we have one of our
Yes.
teachers who came.
We would like to introduce Miss Megan Towell
Well,
to Will. She's our new Spanish teacher here in the district. Her enthusiasm brings a wealth of knowledge. She attended our new teacher orientation and is very enthused about joining the Amityville family. So welcome. Is your family here with you tonight?
yes, my boyfriend and my mom.
Well, okay.
Okay, can I have a motion for agenda items? Three, C, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, on the owners first and maybe investment in second. Any discussion on these items?
I mean, I think it'd be good to talk a little bit about the additional work that's gonna happen in the middle school and under the 2C1, just for the community's awareness.
Sure.
3C1.
Yeah.
No, that's easy.
The capital projects at the middle school.
Right, so, this is, we have we have to remove what's called a wet wall. A wet wall is a wall that contains, maybe I'm sorry. I'm doing it for the public. And we also decided that the piecework that's in that room, which are lab tables that make the room very inefficient to use. We wanted to remove that old casework, giving us a bigger floor space to put more student desks. So that's what this work is about. It's $19,000 worth of work, but it is covered by the allowance, meaning that it's not going to increase the contract cost because we already accounted for that in the base contract itself.
Thank you. And I guess too, the secret resolution is good, that's the beginning of the permitting for all of the capital projects that were included in the 26-27 budget.
Yes, the State Environmental Quality Review Act requires us to take a look at the projects we're going to do and make a determination as to whether or not there's any environmental impact. Declaring this a type 2 classification means that we don't need to do a draft environmental impact statement and all of those things that add cost to a project. So the secret resolution was drafted for us by our architects, and we're recommending that you adopt it. You're acting as the lead agency for it. You're making the determination that these projects will not have significant or any real environmental impact that's not mitigated by the work that we're going to do.
Thanks, this is really good to talk about a little bit.
Any other discussions? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Motion carries 6-0. Okay. Moving on, do we have any old business to discuss?
I have one item, that John is here, a few months ago, when we, had to submit an appeal to the state regarding our election process. We talked about, maybe revisiting our protocols and, if we need to, I don't know. I'm not sure what we would establish, John. I think we had said at the time, like, oh yeah, we can definitely help provide some guidance on that so that next year, we can hopefully avoid any potential issues following our election. And I just wanted to bring that up again to see if the board could gain consensus that we'd like legal to advise on how to maybe update our protocol around our election.
So we always provide assistance to the district clerk and as part of the election. We provide assistance, but perhaps that might be best through your policies and procedures. We can take a look at your policies and procedures.
Okay.
And we can maybe provide some updates to the board and policy committee.
Okay.
So we can clarify things and make sure that we have updated everything.
Okay.
We can provide that feedback to the board.
Thank you, I think that would be good, and I ask now because sometimes it takes a little bit of time to get
It
it
does.
set up and ready to go for our annual.
Yes.
Yes,
And I think it was mentioned really quickly in executive, but if we can say it again for the public, the calendars for the school year. We're still waiting to receive them. Is there an update when families in the district should be receiving those calendars?
sure. The students, want to give an update on the calendar?
We expect the calendars will be at the post office tomorrow for mailing. We did confirm and send text today.
Okay.
Any, I don't, if this is, I guess, new business, I have 2 new business, that's okay.
Okay.
We're up to new business.
Yeah, we have to meet.
Okay. There was an inquiry about the air conditioning in the high school, I guess what the sports is there, is there awareness of any issue there? Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Working on.
Okay.
So when the bond was done in 2016, we got to the point where we were about to install the rooftop units. And when we were ordering them, when COVID hit, the supply lapsed. As a result, we installed substitute units. In retrospect, it probably should not have done that. Because the substitute units has failed. We've had to replace the condensers, we're now replacing the coils. In fact, you may see a crane on the high school site on Monday, lifting up the new coils to the roof. Hopefully that will fix the problem. But there's nothing we can do when the equipment fails. We have to either rip out the entire unit, replace it, or replace the part that failed, or replacing the part. And hopefully that will fix the problem and the gym will be air conditioned.
Can I ask a follow-up question? Are there any manufacturer warranties on the equipment such as this?
That have all expired.
Okay, so
And the company that produced the units is better.
we could have started with that, yeah.
Second question.
Can we, I guess on Friday, maybe get like a little bit more of an update on the air conditioning, like even in the, I guess I'd just like to understand a bit more like what you mean by a temporary unit versus what we actually intended to install, and so that we can plan more appropriately, because I think maybe was it last winter, was the high school gym also having issues with their heating and cooling?
There's been some historical issues
Yeah,
with the HVAC.
So-
components. Yes.
okay, I thought was it specific to the gym, or it could be.
The gym has been
Yeah, it
impacted,
has been,
yes.
yes, okay. Okay, so I guess I would be interested to understand a little bit more beyond what you just gave a brief explanation of. You know, what did we actually intend to do versus what we have. And, so my last thing, my last thing and is related to the annual goals for the superintendent. And we had the presentation at our last meeting, and we didn't really discuss them much as a board, but I'm wanted to reconfirm, I guess, too, with council here that at some point in September, we should be formally accepting the goals in the evaluation tool that we're gonna use. So am I remembering that correctly?
So the requirement is actually filing of the tool
Okay,
that you use for the superintendent evaluation. I believe that is part of your policy, and it is an exhibit to your policy. So that is the filing of the tool, that is the legal requirement. However, there's a recommendation that of course, so you have goals set out that are delineated prior, early on in the school year. Because the evaluation is based upon those things.
right, okay, because I thought last year we purposefully like filled it out and
Right.
adopted it in September. Formally, I think we formally voted to adopt, so we haven't really had a chance to talk, and September is right around the corner, and I can.
Can I interject? I'm sorry. In light of time, this is very important. Well, definitely our job as the board is to hold our superintendent accountable. And she has stated previously that she will be giving us more information on there. Only because today we know we do have another meeting after this. So can we table this until September?
Well, is there like a timeline to the adoption of the tool?
No, the tool has already been adopted, so you have the basic tool, it's just filling in the goals, that's that piece. There's no specific level.
Okay, so are we saying that it will, because this is like the work session that we had talked about discussing. So, in September, I think we have the combined meeting.
Yes, we have a few meetings that we can discuss this further.
And we also have another meeting scheduled for 6:30 in November.
Okay.
So if we could just table it, it definitely will be addressed.
I guess just very high level, I won't go through all of my thoughts, but one higher level thought, because this is just. We're trying to establish the strategic plan, right? And be ready to implement the first year of the strategic plan next year. That's a massive goal. So I do have thoughts and for the board to consider with the superintendent as far as like what we will see in the development of the first half of this year in our understanding and our alignment of what those strategic priorities are. And then ensuring at the end of this year that everyone's ready to execute. So I did hope to maybe expand a little bit, mostly on the evidence part. And like I said, maybe even understanding like what will we see in December? Because if you like a mid-year, like what will we see as far as evidence December and then towards the end of the year? It differentiate that within these, yes.
So there's no way that we could really exhaust the conversation
No,
to
I
the
understand,
depth
it's just.
that we need to, and I appreciate you bringing it to the table. My team and I have planned out the entire year. We do have timelines. We can share that with the board. A part of the priorities was to share that we're doing a quarterly scorecard for the board. So each quarter, we will provide you with an update as to where we are. Those 6 priorities are the 6 priorities based upon the data and where we have found ourselves this year is where we are recommending that we focus. And then my goals are hubbed within those 6 priorities. But just out of respect for our commitment to our partner with NISBA, I do ask that we can continue this conversation. In September, we have 2 meetings in September.
And 6.
And we can certainly carve out ample time for more discussion because I know I'm sure everyone would like to chime in to make sure those are where we would like to see them.
Yeah, I just one thing, so we can close out. In relation to that, I agree with you. And I like you said, we have 2 sessions coming up, and we can make one of them a working session. But the other thing I want to add to that is that, Second Vice President Sharon and I also went to the superintendent evaluation, and one of the things that was discussed, even the conference that I went to, was that the board, right, have board goals, right? At least 3 to 5 board goals, which is something we haven't done yet. And so at that meeting, if we could we can review deeper the superintendent goals, and then also as a board together come up with minimum of 3 to 5 strategic goals moving forward. I think that would be a good purpose to that meeting, and we will allow the time for that to be done. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so moving on to community input regarding non-board agenda items only.
Hi, Jocelyn Stevenson. First thing I just want to say quickly is the agendas back there that were handed out, that we're missing every other page. Just so you all know, every other page is missing from those agendas. And the other thing is there an update on schedules being sent out? My 2 middle schoolers have not received their schedules. I've been checking on Definitive This, and mailbox, and they don't have them, so is there an update on middle school? And also, friends of mine have been asking about elementary school, that some of them have not received their schedules yet as well. For their teacher assignments.
Yes, I'll ask Ms. Stevens to give you an update.
I can update you on middle school and high school, both will be released in the portal on Friday. Elementary, I would have to check for you.
Okay, why Friday? Because I thought I received some notice that we would be getting them on the 24th.
I don't know why you received that notice, but the agreed date for middle and high school. So we released them at the same time. The summer school period just ended, so they have to do reversals to reschedule students who may have passed classes, so that's why they're a little bit later.
So
with
by
secondary
Friday.
buildings. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Julie Colorado. I'm the resident of Amityville. I have some specific questions I'd like to address to the board and the administration. In May of 2026, Dr. Talbot sent a district-wide letter acknowledging that there was a situation involving the misuse of artificial intelligence and social media by a student. And she confirmed that the district was cooperating with an active Amityville Police Department investigation. And she stated that counseling and support were being provided to impacted students. And she said the district was, quote, reviewing the application of our code of conduct to ensure appropriate disciplinary action is taken. So I've since reviewed the district's official 2025-2026 school safety and educational climate report. That's the SSEC report I received from NICEAD. And I looked through that form. And I looked also through the high school's in-school suspension records for that period. But neither of them shows the so neither of them shows that any incident that appears to correspond to so neither of those reports shows that any incident that appears to correspond to what was described in Dr. Talbert's message is not there. So there's no cyberbullying or sexual offenses reported as zero district-wide for the entire year. So I'm not asserting that I know what happened or didn't happen, and I understand that there's an active investigation. But I don't know its outcome. But the district's own communication described the impacted students received counseling and that there was a review for possible disciplinary action, which suggests that this was treated internally as a real and serious matter. What I'm asking is procedural. Can the district explain how this matter was categorized for state reporting purposes, if at all? And if it wasn't determined that it did not meet the SSEC's reporting criteria, I'd like to understand why it wasn't reported. And if this investigation is still open, I'd like to understand when or whether the district expects to update its reporting to the community once it concludes.
You want me to respond? Okay. So because this is a student-related matter, it's not a public discussion. I can assure you that the district followed all necessary protocols and safety precautions as it pertained to this incident. And that is the extent of my comment on the matter.
Is there any other comments from anyone? And that's all you're gonna say? Okay, thank you very much. Just wanted to know. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have to say something, not related to the investigation, but just, she walked out, so she's not gonna hear it, but. From a parent's point of view, I will confirm that, we did receive paperwork from the school district. Talking about AI and how it's, and how you have to be careful and how parents should be monitoring that. And what's acceptable and what's not acceptable, so not commenting on the investigation or anything like that, that warning has gone home to parents.
Trustee Leon.
Is there a reason why we couldn't say how it was reported to the state? Oh, like that was a very, it seems like a benign question. I guess John.
So if there's, so that's up to the board how it wishes to respond to these issues. My suggestion is if there are specific requests for records and reporting, those requests be referred to the superintendent of schools.
Hi, are we using these anymore? To come up and speak, do we have to fill these out?
Yes,
Okay, good.
yes.
Good evening. Nick Wolf, President, Teachers Association. Just some question, well, not necessarily, well, a question and a point of clarification. At the last meeting, there was a conversation relative to vending machines, and I do understand that the school board has been asking questions relative to that. I think that the only part that that I'm a little bit confused about is that, you know, our contract was pretty relatively is readily available. And it speaks to the vending machines that the ATA has, which no students have any access to our vending machines. They are actually in the faculty rooms. It's only access, only teachers have access to that. It doesn't interfere with anything relative to the school district. It's just something that's housed there. And that has been in the contract for, you know, long before it is that I came into the position. The ATA has never had any outreach from the district, to my knowledge, relative to asking any questions relative to our vending machines. If so, we would not have any problems addressing any of those questions. I think I'm just confused as to why it is that relative to the vending machines that the responsibility of the ATA are still part of conversations in terms of what needs to be done. In this forum, where we haven't received anything from the district. Typically, the business office would have either reached out to the treasurer of our union, who takes care of those and has the contracts, and we would provide the district with any and all information that it is that we need, that you need. So we want to let you know that we will willingly cooperate or answer any questions that you have regarding that. But the vending machines that exist in the school district that the ATA are responsible for are within the contract. Thank you.
Thank you. But any more? Any input? Regarding non-board agenda items? If not, moving on, do we have any reports from legal?
Yeah.
Okay, any reports from the Board of Education? Okay. So with that being said, can we have a motion for adjournment? At 6:58.
Second.
Okay. So it's first by Michael McDonald, second by Juan Leon. All those in favor? Aye. Okay, motion carries 6-0. Have a great night. Oh, I'm sorry, I did forget one thing, I apologize. We do ask that you keep our president, Mr. Nero, and his family, in your thoughts and well wishes. Okay, thank you. Have a great.